Okay, keeping on the Charlie Kirk thing. I did. I watched him I got to where I was watching every day, and a lot of it came out of a lot of entertainment. Like get on in the discussions. I'd love the discussions and what the young people would have to say and how he would redirect or not redirect, but he would give his part. And usually he always won the arguments. But I think it was from his point of view. He used to say this to me when I was younger and said that if somebody else did not believe the Bible was the true word of God, then you couldn't have a discussion because you didn't have that common denominator,
Yeah.
there. I thought that Charlie ran into a lot of people that probably weren't spiritual, that obviously, I'm not judging,
Yeah.
obviously, trans, gay, whatever. If you do that, it seems like you're worshiping in a way, your spirituality is different than mine because I don't believe in that today, you've been a politician or you're put in a situation to where if you had to discuss those things today, how are you on locally? Let's say locally, trans guy going into a girl's bathroom. How do you address that at a city council meeting?
It's wrong.
Okay,
Period.
but how do you? Yeah, but it's easy. I mean, I believe that. I do. But how do you approach that? Talking back to your guys, you always talked about your discussions with Peter or Andre or whoever else. How do you go into a council, with 8 other people and say they all say we don't see a problem in it? What's your argument to them aside from Christianity? I mean, we
Yeah.
always have our Christianity stand and say I can't do that because I'm a Christian. What do you say to them? When you know that you can't use our Christian card, what do you say to them?
Well, I would just say, hey, fellas, it's common sense. Would you want your wife or your daughter to be in a bathroom and a grown man or a teenager walk in there? Who would think that was right?
Well,
You can say it's right if you know you're not going to have to deal with that.
well, the funny thing is about it, Manny, is that don't you think that you have people that would say they don't see a problem in it, and even if they said if their wife or we know
Oh
people
yeah,
like this seriously. What I'm saying is that I think it's two sides. I think them letting it get out of hand. I think the guys playing in women's sports
yeah.
was completely just seems like common sense that you don't do that. Um, Unfortunately, we're in a situation now where they're trying to make that ban that and whatnot. What kind of society would we have been looking at if they would have just said, "Oh, we'll let all"? Is that not? Was that where we were headed? Did you think we were headed to a place to where trans do whatever you want, go in the bathrooms, play women's sports, the norm? What kind of society did you see coming when you saw all this start to happen?
Well, you can't have a society with borders, so you have to have borders on the gender thing.
Uh-huh.
It's not natural. It's not right. I don't care whether you're Christian, non-Christian. I guarantee you, a non-Christian would have probably more harder stance on that than a lot of so-called Christians.
Why would you say that? Why would they have a harder stance on it?
Because, especially the men are men. Real men know that's wrong.
Yeah.
You have to be a pervert to think that's right.
Well, that's why I have a hard time when certain politicians won't just answer questions about stuff like that.
Well, see, as a politician, you're straddling a line here. You figure I'm going to lose a lot of votes if I go this way or that way.
Yeah, but you didn't care, did you?
Well, I cared about my soul.
No. You didn't care about losing votes over.
Oh
it.
no, I never thought, is this going to cause me to get reelected or not? I didn't care because I knew I answered to a higher power than just being a politician. Matter of fact, I had a politician tell me one time he was going to go to there. We have state representative and state senators. He was state representative, and he's going to run for a state senator position because the state representative had to run every 2 years, and the senators run every 4 years, I think. And he said, every decision I make it could cost me my election. So this is how some people think. Politicians will do what's best for their reelection. Mm. A real public servant will try to do what's morally right, I believe.
Yeah, I do, and I believe you wholeheartedly. That's how you work, is that you didn't do it for votes.
And it's the hardest job about this, I guess, is, and I've told people this before. I said, when you're an elected official, you represent everybody. So there are certain things that you have to do for what's best for everybody, and there's certain things that your conscience has to tell you, I can't vote for this, regardless what it costs me.
Yeah. Do you think as a Christian, does it make it more difficult as a city councilman, as a Christian, because of your values, or you always told me when it said "be perfect as God is perfect," you said that the translation was "be impartial."
Or separate from sin.
Separate from sin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Separate yourself from the sinful people. Don't align yourself with them, because that's like I said, God cannot have anything to do with sin.
Yeah.
So separate. But as a politician, you try to. There's some things that are just moral things that will benefit everybody, but there are some things I think they're immoral. You cannot vote.
Yeah.
I cannot, in clear conscience, ever vote that abortion is okay unless there's a certain where the mother would die and the baby's going to die anyway. That you have to take that in consideration. I'm just glad I don't have to make those decisions.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And those are tough ones across the board. And I guess I'm like you. I'm glad I'm not the one having to make the decision. But as you look at politics, you always told me, they said if you want change, it starts local.
Yes.
It has to. It has to be local, what you start with. But looking at it nationally, one of the reasons why, yes, I watch Gutfeld and I off and on, Hannity's a little strong. I'll go over to CNN sometimes. But what's the is it just never going to change to where you have so much hate? I mean, I'll watch a roundtable on one channel and they're just, I'll say the CNN show at night. And you can tell that it's all backed on racism. The white supremacists come up, the whole thing. Does that not cloud the judgment of getting anything done when you just say, oh, it's based on white supremacy? I know a lot of white people, and they're not white supremacists.
Well, like I said, it used to be the bad word. Now everything you do is racism, so it doesn't mean the same thing.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of lost its flavor of the month. Now it's you're Hitler.
Oh, you're Hitler.
Nazi.
Okay.
So that's
all right.
You say racist, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Talking about that, just okay, like Texas. Okay, let's go back to Texas. Ms. Crockett wants to run for Senate. Say Senate.
Yeah.
How did Texans look at Ms. Crockett, you think?
Well, of course, there again, if you're on the left, politics is just like team sport. Like your football. You have your Alabama and your Tennessees.
There you go.
And Tennessee and Alabama, they don't care what kind of thug you have on your team as long as you win. They'll forgive.
Well, but that's true. I think
my
that's
thugs
how
are
football's
okay.
supposed to be.
I just want them to beat those thugs over there.
Okay.
And that's what politicians are now. It's become more of a team sport. My team against yours.
Yeah. Well, what about your boy Mondami up there? It's in New York. How did New York vote a guy who said I'm a socialist in?
Because they don't. There it goes back to their educational system. They haven't been taught history and what socialism is. Of course, America is partly socialism. Social Security.
Okay.
All those things that we give people that are disabled,
right,
need help, all that is socialism.
Okay.
So we're part of it. They just want it all. They don't realize that somebody has to pay for it. Nothing's free.
Yeah.
So when the government has no money, when they run out of everybody else's money, what are they going to use?
That's true.
They were all messed up.
Yeah.
They don't know what socialism is. It does not work. They haven't been taught that all these other countries have tried it. It's not work. Cuba, Venezuela, all that. Venezuela used to be the one of the richest countries there was. They went to socialism, bam, they're nothing now.
Yeah. So you never paid attention to politics up until the guy had you sign up to vote?
Yeah,
Did
no.
you? Never?
Yeah.
Yeah. You told me one time when, I want to say that when Nixon won, you thought the world was going to come to an end.
Yeah. Because
why would you think that if you weren't political?
Well, I wasn't political, but I heard that Democrats were the good people and they cared for the working man. and that
I think they did at one time.
Well, you're right. They did. They did. And then when I went to work and started working these guys that try to get a union in our plant, I saw the guys that were wanting to push for a union with the guys that didn't really want to work and still get paid. And I thought,
well, of course,
no, but I thought he's wanting more money. He's wanting to make the same money and not do nothing. That I'm working over here, working twice as hard as it is, and he wants me to get the same thing. No, I think I'll be rewarded because I work harder than the rest of them. And that showed me if that was totally unfair and that the government wanted more of my money and I wanted to keep more of my money, and that changed everything.
You never were a union guy, were you? As far as you didn't believe it because of that. You'd explained it to me before how you saw it at one time.
And I tell them, guys, you want a raise? Don't pay union dues. I'll get a raise right there. Because again, now look, they collect the unions and spend it on the party they want to win.
I'm glad Jimmy Hoffa didn't know that about you. They might have come and took care of you right then. So no, I think.
And look, there was a time when unions were needed, when they were abusing people, working in dangerous places, the mines and stuff like that, and didn't have no safeguards. It was needed for a long time, and then just like everything else, a good thing turns into a bad thing. The pendulum swings the other way, and they go too far.
I gotcha.